Welcome back to my channel. In this episode we're gonna explore something from the far Orient. We're gonna look at one very exotic and different computer, the CEC-E Apple II compatible computer. So let's check it out. I got this computer about a year ago. The CEC-E, it's a strange computer. It looks more like an MSX or an Atari computer than an Apple II. It's a sturdy, well-built Apple IIe compatible computer. We start with a power connector, a tape connector, a composite port, an RF port, then we have a CGA video connector, a switch for color and black and white, a joystick port, a printer port, and then the drive 2 and drive 1 floppy drive connectors. On the side we have an extension port which can be configured to be port 5 or 7 with an internal switch. The plastics and key switches are better quality of other clones. On the keyboard, it has two keys labeled in Chinese. One is to go to the Chinese mode and the other one to Western mode. The key switches are sturdy and comfortable, even these big ones. One thing I'm not crazy about is the little lights that it has. They're not bright enough. I would like them to be brighter. You barely can see when it's turned on. This clone was conceived for the education Chinese market. That's why it's so little known on the West. This computer uses 220 volts, so I had to use an adapter to power it. I have nothing connected to the computer, so there's not too many things that I can do. But it has this test button that does a self-test, and I really liked it. It not only tests the memory but also the ROMs with different languages. I like the fact that it has the escape key and the function key separated from the keyboard, the same as the arrows. They could be really good for some games. If there's something that I really like are joysticks, so let's try one. Generally, I prefer to use the W drive instead of a floppy, but I'm gonna make sure to test with one. This is an Apple IIe clone with only 64K, but you can run a lot of programs with that. And of course, I love to play my favorite retrobrite game. Wait a minute, something's not right. It's not moving sideways. Let's check again. Okay, time to jiggle it a little bit. Alright, that's better. The computer performance handles pretty well. I'm not crazy about the colors on the screen, but I suspect it's because this computer was designed for standards other than NTSC or Western standards. I may be wrong, it could be also the connector that is pretty old. Okay, now let's start with a real floppy drive. Let's see what happens. The green light is on, but the computer doesn't turn on. That's weird. Checking the connection and trying again. The floppy drive turns on, I can hear the drive spinning, but nothing else. Let's disconnect the drive. Yes, without the drive it works. There's something wrong with the drive or the computer. Time to do more tests with the W drive. Let's play some games. Other thing that bothers me about this computer, it doesn't have an open Apple or close Apple function keys. The only way I can reset it is with Control Reset. Otherwise, I have to turn it off and on. Well, so far the computer can handle all the games that I would throw its way. Okay, in the meantime, let's test the color and black and white switch in the back. It works pretty well. Everything becomes very readable. That's an option that I wish some of my computers had. I bought a composite to USB capture device. I have used it with other computers with great results, very sharp views and nice picture, but I think this is not the case. It could be signal degradation or bad connector, but when I connect it directly to the other monitor, it looks pretty sharp. So I don't know, I'm not gonna use this. Just taping directly to the screen is a lot better, don't you think? I know I'm not very talented typing, but I am trying to get some Chinese characters coming out unsuccessfully. So I can see some keys are repeating, so I'm gonna have to open the keyboard and clean it up a little bit. Some deoxit will for sure fix that. Well, so much for my attempts to write Chinese language. Finally, I'm gonna try to run this Time Master HO card. Let's see what happens. But of course, I forgot that disk image doesn't work from the SD and the floppy drive doesn't work at all, so I'm gonna have to stop it. This was a fail. Well, after doing some research and talking to some friends, I suspect the problem is the power supply. I would like to actually replace it with a 110 volt power supply. The computer looks well built. This is metal. It looks a little bit rusted, but whatever. The motherboard looks pretty clean and simple. There are the ROMs. Nice to be able to see all the connectors. Everything looks clean, even the RF. Good. Let's get to that pesky power supply. Already remove all the screws, so let's open it up. Well, it looks pretty simple. It has a switch included. Time to test it. Generally, the black is always a negative, so I start with that. Luckily, I found out that they use the same color scheme as Apple, so the same color cables are the same voltages as the Apple power supply. Yes, some of the voltages are low, so that's why the drive is not working very well. At this point I did a lot of research, talked to several people, including Henry Kirby's, to see if I could replace the power supply with his new universal power supply. As I wanted, I came to the conclusion that it's not possible. The power switch and the narrowing of this power supply make it almost impossible to replace it. At this point I'm determined to find out if it's a power problem, so I'm gonna replace it with a GS power supply. Well, I was right. The drive works. Even the red LEDs are a lot brighter. There you have it. It runs. So-so. It's taking too long to boot. I think I'm gonna reboot the drive, but I like these red lights. Finally, it came up. MECC recognizes it as a 64K Apple II with a few cards. Pretty weird. Let's do more tests. I think monitor colors look good. Wow, no 80 column. This is weird. Other tests fare pretty well. Well folks, there you have it. Well, my conclusion is that this is a good clone with the same quality of other clones. I would like to explore more the dual language option. I really like that. So it's a shame that I won't be able to replace that power supply with a new universal one from Reactive Micro. Anyway, I will try to work on that 220 power supply to see if I can bring it back to spec. Well, I hope you liked this episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Send me any comments. You know I love comments. And if you can, support me on Patreon. Again, thanks for watching and see you next time.